So have you ever looked up at the sky at night and just got that crazy feeling inside of you as you were just blown away by how magnificent it looked? Or how about, have you ever been at the ocean and just got that smell of the sea and the sand between your toes, and you're just looking out at just the unending amount of water and you can't even see the horizon? Have you ever picked up a flower and just smelt it and looked at it and looked how intricately it is designed, and just were blown away by the fact that this thing grows over and over and over every single year? How about looking at birds or dogs, or just thinking about how we know more about space than we do about under the ocean, or that there are frogs, but then there are giraffes, and then there are rhinoceroses, but there's also lizards, and it's crazy just to think. And then there's trees. You know, a tree, I was just talking to the gentleman that I shoot these videos with today, and he talked about something that blows me away, just like it blows him away. What he said was, isn't it crazy that we breathe in oxygen and exhale CO2, and then a tree breathes in CO2 and lets out oxygen? Like, doesn't that just blow your mind? Doesn't that just blow your mind? And you know, when you experience that feeling in your heart where you're just like, oh my gosh, you may not know it, but that's heart worship. You're actually worshiping God. Let me share with you this verse. Actually, first let me ask you the question. The question of today is this: what if God shows himself everywhere? And that was inspired by a young man named Tyler at Calhoun High School. And so this is the verse. It says this, Romans chapter 1, verse 20. From the time the world was created, people have seen the earth and sky and all that God made. They can clearly see his invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature, so that they have no excuse whatsoever for not knowing God. You may not have ever recognized that heart feeling as heart worship, but let me just tell you now that that is your created body responding to the created God, not the created God, the creation that God created. Like, God put something in you that would help you to understand that he exists. And he did it by your interaction with the other creation. And so the question was, what if God is everywhere and we don't even know it? What if God shows himself everywhere? And he does. If you can't look at a tree and see God, you're not looking hard enough. Or maybe you're looking too hard, or maybe you're going like this and looking at the trees. If you can't see and experience the birth of a child and know that it happened from a tiny, tiny, tiny little thing which turned into someone like me, 6'2", 240 pounds. Hey, if you watch my introduction, I've lost 20, 30 pounds. It's awesome. But anyways, it's amazing. If we look at creation, if we look at nature, we can see God. We can see God's infinite mystery in heaven. We can see God's infinite mystery on earth. We can see God's infinite mystery underwater. It is everywhere, and it all reveals God. Final image I want you to think about. Have you ever looked out at mountains in the fall and just saw what seemed to be the most beautiful picture that had ever been painted? And you would think, how could something like that be that way? Well, just know that when you looked at those mountains at that specific time, that was a painting that God painted for you, so that you would encounter him and you would worship him by the beauty of those mountains and those leaves. It's all around you. And I hope that now that you know that you can't escape it. So once again, what if God shows himself everywhere?